welcome to ABC Interactive English. I'm Sam.
And I'm Mike.
And Mike, what is this?
Oh, well, there's a really big mosquito around here somewhere, and I'm gonna get it.
Oh man, I think you're gonna end up hurting somebody with that.
I'm not hunting mosquitoes. No, I'm getting ready for Dragon Boat Day. I'm doing some paddling practice. You see, left, right, both sides. I gotta have my good rhythm going.
Okay.
Because this year we're gonna win the Dragon Boat race.
Well, what is Dragon Boat?
It's a boat that looks like a dragon, of course.
Oh, I mean, okay, I guess that makes sense.
It's a kind of boat race that people here have in June, right? There's a big Dragon Boat Festival when people have Dragon Boat races, and me and 19 of my closest friends, not really, are gonna get on a boat and we're gonna have a leader, we're gonna have a drummer, it's gonna be great, and we're gonna work really hard and paddle really fast. And so hopefully we'll be the first team to cross the line, but we'll probably be the last team to cross the line because we're not very good.
Oh, is this something that people take very seriously? Because this looks a little maybe flimsy for a dragon boat.
Well, this isn't actually an official dragon boat paddle. The paddles are with the boat over in the river, so I'm just, practicing with whatever I can and also killing mosquitoes at the same time.
Well, okay. I mean, I guess I'll let you just continue on then, and then
please.
I think I don't know enough about dragon boats, so hopefully in our lesson these couple days we're gonna learn more about that. Because
sounds good.
I don't really know
much about it. Maybe we'll get to eat some dumplings.
Oh, okay.
It'll all make sense.
Okay, sure.
Lance and Mindy are experiencing some Dragon Boat Festival traditions.
It's almost noon. We need to get our eggs ready.
What? Isn't it time to eat those rice dumplings? Okay, so yes, our article for today and the next 2 more days after that, 3 days in total, get ready for Dragon Boat Festival. So we're going to read 2 days of dialogues, and then we'll have an article for the 3rd day. So let's find out what's going to happen in our dialogues. We see there, Lance and Mindy are experiencing some Dragon Boat Festival traditions. Okay, so yeah, June is when Dragon Boat Festival usually is. It's one of those holidays like Chinese New Year and others that kind of move around on the calendar. They follow the lunar calendar and not the solar calendar like most of our days of the week. And so when we talk about a Dragon Boat Festival, people think of going down to the river to watch the races. You might eat some zongzi, some rice dumplings. Everyone gets the day off, of course, which is very common when we have special festivals. And actually, I've been to Dragon Boat Festivals here in Taiwan. In Vancouver, they have a big one. I remember going to see the races that they have there in False Creek in the middle of downtown Vancouver. So it's something that's celebrated, of course, in a lot of the Chinese-speaking world, but in many other parts of the world where Chinese people have moved over the last many hundreds of years. It's a tradition lots of people, not just Chinese people or people from this part of the world, they enjoy because it's fun.
Yeah, that's always, I think the traditions that get passed down the most are the ones that are fun.
Sure.
Or maybe ones that are to prevent something scary from happening. Sometimes those get passed down too. But we have this word tradition, which is a noun, and it just means something that is done over and over again around the same time, then everybody kind of follows that thing, and it's something that has been done since a very long time ago. So that is something tradition. You might that is a tradition, but you might also use the adjective form traditional. And you can also have traditions within your family, so it doesn't just have to be like, oh, on Christmas traditionally we put up a Christmas tree, but it might be in your family we play games on Christmas Eve, for example. That's a tradition in my family. So it could be big traditions, countrywide traditions, worldwide traditions, or family-wide traditions. all would be okay.
Absolutely. It's part of your culture, and your grandparents probably did it that way. Your parents, when you have kids, you'll teach them your traditions either from the family, as you said, or from the culture, the nation, the country, whatever it is. So let's find out what is going on here. Mindy is the first person to speak.
Yes, so if we jump into our dialogue, we have Mindy, and she says, "It's almost noon. We need to get our eggs ready."
Excuse me? Eggs ready?
Yeah.
Aren't they supposed to go down to the river to race in their dragon boats at noon?
First is eggs.
Maybe it's a little early in the day for the dragon boat races, but noon isn't that early because noon is 12 o'clock. Noon is lunchtime. Noon is when it goes from a.m. to p.m., from morning to afternoon. It's halfway through the day. If you count the day as beginning at midnight, 12 hours later at 12 p.m., lunchtime, we would also call that noon. So, when are you going to meet your friends for lunch? Hey, let's meet at noon. You know that they mean let's meet at 12 o'clock. All right, so Lance is just as confused as I am. So I'm glad I'm not the only one. Eggs, noon, what are you talking about? Lance says, what? And then he kind of says, isn't it time to eat those rice dumplings? Thank you, Lance. Zongzi, yeah, that's what you want to eat at noon around Dragon Boat Festival. Rice dumplings, lunchtime, 12, and we don't even need eggs. I mean, sometimes there's an egg inside, but that was a long time ago when you made it. Why do you need an egg now? It's not breakfast. What's going on?
We're doing something with the eggs.
What are you doing?
Yeah, we're going to find out after the break why Mindy is saying, hey, we need some eggs. But it doesn't actually have to do with eating them.
She's going to throw them at him. That's not nice, Mindy.
I guess you'll have to just wait until after the break. And
I don't like that
you'll
tradition.
Find out.
Okay. All right.
We'll have zongzi later, but first, we need to stand these eggs on end.
Huh? Is that possible?
It is, but it isn't easy. Your hand has to be really steady.
What happens if you manage to get the egg to stand on end?
You'll have good luck for the year.
I like the sound of that. I could use some luck. Let's get cracking.
Okay, so we just had the beginning of our dialogue. We've got Mindy, we've got Lance. They're talking about dragon boat traditions, and Mindy's like, hey, go get an egg.
Right, they're not going to make an omelet, they're not making breakfast, we don't know what is going on. Lance was thinking like me, eggs? No, Dragon Boat Festival, you eat zongzi, you eat rice dumplings. What is this, an egg?
Well,
what's going on? It's noon, I don't want egg.
Mindy is about to explain why she wants an egg, and she says, we'll have zongzi later, but first, we need to stand these eggs on end.
Excuse me? Can you explain what you're talking about?
That's an excellent question.
An excellent question. Those are some terrible, terrible little jokes we're making there. But yeah, she's talking about standing the eggs on end. Okay. Well, I can stand if I move from sitting and put my feet on the ground and in, going up and down and not walking. I'm standing. That is to stand. And of course, you can stand something as well. This is probably something that's not an animal with legs, right? Of course, a cat can stand. That's not an amazing thing. But if you take something like a pencil that's very, very long and you very carefully position it so it sits like this and it isn't just lying on the table, you are standing that thing on the table, right? And that can be challenging, so I guess that's what she's talking about doing. Instead of having the egg kind of lying on its side like this, you put it like this, so the fat bottom is sitting on the bottom, the skinny top is there, and it doesn't fall over right away, because if it falls over right away, it's not standing. It has to kind of stay there in that position as if you were standing on two legs. So Lance, now he kind of understands the idea of what they're going to do with the eggs, but he's thinking, this sounds really difficult, actually, kind of like my idea of putting a pencil in the same position. How would you do that? It's only going to be there for a few seconds, and then it will fall. So he kind of says, huh? Which is a great sound to make when you are completely confused with the world. Huh? What is going on? Is that possible? Can you even do that? I mean, you could sit there for a year and the thing would just keep falling down.
Yeah, I think you'd go crazy trying to stand up a pencil. Unless it was a brand new pencil where it's like its eraser was still flat and square, then maybe.
Good point. Good point.
Any other time,
yeah,
I'm not going to
try it.
try
If a wind comes along, the pencil's going to fall probably like an egg would.
Yeah, and so Lance is a little confused, but Mindy says it is, but it isn't easy. Your hand has to be really steady. And so, I mean, she's kind of blaming it more on your hand, but I'm still a little confused if this egg is really going to stand up. But apparently it can, and so she says if you keep your hand very steady, steady is an adjective here describing the motion of your hand, and in this case, you would hope that there would be almost no motion, that your hand would be very stable. So it's not shaky, it's not moving around, it's very stable and careful and steady. And so if you're trying to do any kind of balancing act, you would need to be very steady.
That's a good point.
Some people like to make card houses, and they'll use the cards and they'll stand the cards up, and you'd have to be very steady. Or if you play Jenga,
okay,
that
sure,
game, you have to be very
that's a good
steady
point.
to take the pieces out. So
Right.
this is describing this kind of motion or lack of motion where you're trying to be very stable and very calm.
Very good point, and a very good bit of advice there. If you're trying to stand your egg on end, don't do it in a room with a ghost. Don't do it in a room with a wild lion that's waiting to eat you. Don't do it after drinking too much coffee, because in all of those situations, you'll be shaking like this and you won't be steady. You will definitely not be able to stand the egg on end. So let's say you're in a perfect world, you're totally relaxed, there are no lions around, you haven't had any coffee today. Lance has a good question. Okay, so what happens, he says, if you manage to get the egg to stand on end? Let's say I waste 10 minutes of my life, or an hour, or however long it takes. I get the egg to stand there. It's still not breakfast, so why am I doing this? What will happen?
Well, according to Mindy, she says, you'll have good luck for the year.
I'd rather have a good breakfast.
Well, unfortunately, you get luck instead.
All right.
Well, I guess you could still crack the egg and cook it, and then you would be able to have both.
True.
But she says if you can get that egg to stand up, that means that you're going to have good luck.
Right, but it's not easy to do, right? That's why we use that verb manage. If you manage to do something here. Now, you guys might see the word manage and think about, well, like a boss. A boss manages the worker. Often we call the boss in a business the manager. But this kind of manage, when we're using the verb in this way, we're not talking about being a leader and kind of telling people what to do. We're talking about doing something difficult. All right, if you're successful in doing something difficult, you have managed to do that thing. All right, so the idea is here that what you're trying to do is not super easy. There will be some challenges, difficulties. You could fail. You could be unsuccessful. But hey, you did it. You worked hard. You were lucky. You got some help. Whatever happened, things worked out okay in the end. So good for you. I managed to get to school on time, even though I woke up 20 minutes late. I skipped breakfast, I called a taxi, I got lucky with the bus, whatever. I did it. I managed to do it.
Yes, and if you manage to stand an egg up at this time around the Dragon Boat Festival or on that day, then it says that you are going to get luck for the rest of the year. So if you get luck, so this is the noun form. Again, a lot of times you might hear it just as lucky if you are lucky, but this means to have good fortune or to be fortunate and to have things kind of go well. And so again, you can think of it as if maybe if you ever bought like a scratch ticket and you got to try to scratch off, and if you won, then it's like, woohoo, you're lucky. So it didn't take any skill, but you got luck.
That's right. The world just worked out in a certain way you can't explain, but it worked out well for you. You had some luck. That's why we say good luck. when you're going off to do something that could be difficult. All right, anyways, Lance, it sounds like, needs a bit of luck. Maybe he's got a big exam coming up or something. He says, I like the sound of that. If someone tells you something kind of new to you, something you didn't know about, and you're like, hey, that sounds pretty cool, you might say, I like the sound of that. That's a good idea. I'm interested. I could use some luck, he says. So yeah, maybe he's been feeling a little unlucky lately, so he wants to have a little bit of luck. Let's get cracking, he says at the end of the dialogue. Let's get cracking, of course, is an expression we often use to say, let's get started, let's get going. All right, here we go. But of course, since they're talking about eggs, when you break an egg or open an egg, you crack the egg. Really, let's not get cracking, because they don't want to break the eggs.
Yes.
They want to stand them, but he really, of course, is making a little joke. And what he actually means is, let's go, let's try it out. Let's stand those eggs, because I want breakfast.
All right, well then let's go.
All right, let's get cracking. And actually, we've done all the cracking we need today because we're at the end of the dialogue, but we'll get cracking with part 2 tomorrow. So please come back and join us for that. And until then, I'm going to spend the next 23 hours and 50 minutes standing eggs on end.
Good luck.
That's my only goal. I'm going to drink
luck.
a lot of coffee. Oh, wait, no, that'll make it harder. Oh. See you tomorrow, guys. Lance and Mindy are experiencing some Dragon Boat Festival traditions.
It's almost noon. We need to get our eggs ready.
What? Isn't it time to eat those rice dumplings?
We'll have donza later, but first, we need to stand these eggs on end.
Huh? Is that possible?
It is, but it isn't easy. Your hand has to be really steady.
What happens if you manage to get the egg to stand on end?
You'll have good luck for the year.
I like the sound of that. I could use some luck. Let's get cracking.
Hi， 大家好，我是 Stephanie。那我们今天一起来看单字。第一个单字呢是 Dragon Boat Festival， 端午节。The Dragon Boat Festival is on June 3rd this year. 今年的端午节是6月3日。第二个单字呢是 noon， 名词，正午，中午12点。We need to check out by noon. 我们需要在中午之前退房。第三个单字是 stand， 动词，使竖立，站立。那它的三态呢是 stand, stood, stood. We stood the cabinet in the corner of our living room. 我们把柜子放在客厅的角落。最后一个单字呢是 luck， 名词，好运，运气。This charm will bring you good luck. 这个护身符会给你带来好运。这里想补充一个用法，也许你会听说过 just my luck 这个用法，它并不是指字面上只是我的运气的意思哦，而是指我的运气向来很背。比如说你和朋友打扑克牌或者是麻将，结果连输了好几局，你就可以自己下一个结尾说 just my luck， 我就衰。好，那我们一起来看今天的文法。第一个文法呢是 It is time to 加原形动词，现在应该是做某件事的时候。说到这个片语呢，我非常的熟悉，因为小时候到同学家玩，最不想听到的一句话就是 Stephanie, it's time to go home. Stephanie 该回家喽。接下来呢，我们再听一个大家有可能也很熟悉的一句话 Wake up, it's time for school. 起床，该去上学了。那从这两个例子里面呢，大家有没有注意到，当介系词是 to 的时候呢，后面会摆动词；但如果介系词是 for 的时候，后面就必须接名词。所以我们整理一下 ，It's time to 加动词，然后 It's time for 是加名词。那第二个文法呢是 Somebody manages to 加动词，某人设法完成办到某件事情。动词 manage 是完成做到某件困难的事情。相信今年的端午连假，大家已经蓄势待发，准备要出去玩了。那每当碰到连假的时候呢，车票通常都是一票难求。那我们就针对这个盛况造一个例句，也许你下次碰到抢票高手的时候，你就用得上。How did you manage to book the train tickets for the holidays? 你是怎么订到假期的火车票的？最后我们一起看一个例句 I like the sound of that.并不是我喜欢那个声音哦，而是那听起来很不错的意思。 比如说有人邀请你一起去做某件事情，你觉得点子很棒，你就可以说 I like the sound of that， 或者你也可以说 Sounds great， 也是同样的表达哦。那今天的讲解就到这里 ，See you。
The National Museum of Natural Science is open from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. every day except Monday. It is also closed on Chinese New Year's Eve and the first day of the lunar year. The museum is close to major tourist attractions. You can walk down Guangchan Road to Taiwan Boulevard. From there, you can either go shopping at the Taichung Huangshan Sogo department store or take a walk down Calligraphy Greenway. After you leave that area, you can walk along Art Museum Parkway. This area is perfect for going on a nice walk and enjoying some peace and quiet without leaving the downtown area. You can also go to the nearby Maple Garden, National Taichung Theater, and Top City, Far Eastern Department Store's Taichung branch. A wonderful way to end your day is a visit to Fengjia Night Market and Yizhong Street.
See you next time!